split. It's going to be fun times ahead of us.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've had our first problem here, and that is we're not streaming to YouTube yet. So now we're streaming to YouTube. So yes.
Fun times.
Fun times, but we'll wait for that to come on and then we'll welcome them all once again. And they've just got coverage now, so everything's good. So welcome to the YouTube team, crew out there, whoever you are. We had a bit of a glitch there and you missed the intro, but you haven't missed any of the action. So as we were saying, Daniel, it's a 40-80 tonight, and it's going to be very, very exciting racing for all to enjoy.
Yeah, certainly will. Oulton Park sort of lends itself to very close quarters racing, and we've seen in the pre-quali servers earlier on tonight, we're down to 35 for the top split, and I think roughly same numbers in our second. So the field's going to be pretty compressed, and I expect a lot of door-to-door rubbing coming around here tonight.
Yeah, and for the viewers out there, the way it's going to work tonight is basically it's a 40-80 race, so they've got two splits. Unfortunately, Oulton Park could not fit 50-something V8 supercars on this circuit. We're covering the top split. Now, how it's going to work, they're going to, after qualifying, they're going to go and they're going to be doing a 40-kilometre sprint race. And that's going to help set the field. So basically, where they start qualify, that's where they start race one. Race two will come along, and basically the top 15 grids will be reversed, and then all the cars after that will be starting from where they finished in race one.
Yeah, it's going to really shake up the field, especially in that second race. Obviously, top 15 are going to reverse. So the quicker guys are going to have to fight their way through a bit more traffic now, so the elbows will be out, the panels will be rubbing, and everyone's going to want to try and get through that, especially from further down in the order without any contact at all.
Exactly right, and I tell you what, if you have a bad run in race one, you're if you don't finish that, you're going to start at the back of the grid, and it will probably set the tone for the rest of your night, I would say. Yeah,
definitely, and it's not something you want. We don't really have a lot of time here to be able to make up. So obviously in the first race, the guys are looking at about 9 laps. So not a lot of time to get past, make your moves, and there's going to be a lot of biff and barge trying to work your way through it. So the smart guys will maybe look to make those moves, especially around through turn 5, which is Shell Oil's corner. So there's a nice little bit of camber there, which sets you up great through Britain's, through that little 7, 8, 9 chicane complex. And I'm sure the guys are just going to look for every opportunity where they can exploit it and gain that position.
Oh, definitely right. And, V8 supercar drivers, that's what they do, isn't it? They exploit and take any position they can get their hands on, especially at this level of racing. But it's looking really good out there. 34 cars have taken to split one here tonight, so we're guaranteed a very good field. Let's have a bit more of a look of this circuit. So a few race facts here for you folks. Total length of this track 4.3 kilometres, total of 17 turns. Now the amount of laps in race 1 is 9 and the amount of laps in race 2 is 18, and total distance 40 kilometres and 80 kilometres. The fuel burn here is 4.3 litres per lap. Fuel capacity is 56 litres, and the pit window will open between laps 5 and 13. So it looks like we'll be guaranteed a pit stop in both sprint races.
Yeah, definitely, and that stop's going to add a little more spice to the entertainment for obviously the viewers at home as well, and for us trying to work out where these guys are going to filter back into the field. So there's a lot of strategy going to be on hand here.
Yeah, there certainly is, and we'll go through the qualifying very shortly, and I'm just trying to get something up and running. Let's see if it will work. Okay, it's a night of comedy tonight. So let's have a look at our qualifying standings at the moment. So Jordan Ross is on provisional pole, 134.582. Marlon McMullen, he's on second at the moment, 134.650. Brian Borg third, 134.969. Fifth is Brett Loxton, first in the 135s, and Craig Jones at the moment is in the top 5.
Yeah, it must be said, Brett Loxton and Craig Jones are trading places down to the thousandths of a second, so lap times are very competitive from those two. The guys at the front, Jordan Ross, Marlon McMullen's defending series champion, you'd expect him to be up there, and he's in some pretty good company, especially with Brian Borg just behind him as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just typing something, sorry. Oh my God, any question?
Well, we must say is a big thank you to the sponsors and the organisers for this. So, Australian Online Endurance Series brought to you by Nick Heusler and the guys from Stealth Sim Sports, and they also have partner sponsorship tonight from Pagnium Advanced Simulations. And a bit of news for the viewers out there: Stealth Sim Sports actually picked up an ambassador role today with Penrite Motor Oil. So, big congratulations to them on that one as well.
Yeah, and I saw you can see what the cars look like, folks, on the RRTV Facebook page. I tell you what, they look the part, that's for sure. And it's such a great ambassadorship that they've picked up. And it's great to see someone like Penrite Oils jumping on board our esport.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, esports now is starting to grow into a little bit bigger thing now, and to get the interest from real-world manufacturers like Pagnium and now Penrite Oils, it's great to see them coming on board and supporting this sport that we enjoy.
Oh, it certainly is, and I think we're going to see more of this sort of thing occurring over the year or two as more and more businesses see the opportunity of this esport and jump on board, because I tell you what, it's a very, very good return of investment for any small business or corporation out there that wishes to get their name on one of these great cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now with the ease of access for broadcasting, like yourself and RRTV. Obviously, you've got a few other broadcast affiliates who do this as well. So it's great exposure, as you said, for them, and they're not reliant on just sitting with the top level motorsports teams. You can come in at the grassroots and get your product out there as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And as you said, there's other broadcasts that pick up the other series. So it's not just this series that you'll get exposure for. It is also the potentially V8 Scop series and wherever else these cars race and be broadcast. But the beauty of YouTube, and it's not meant to be an ad, folks, but the beauty of it is, unlike TV, where you pay to have it on the broadcast and then it disappears on YouTube, it's there forever. So they pretty much can get a lot of long coverage so long as viewers enjoy watching the broadcast.
Yeah, definitely, that's it. And it's it's fantastic to have the likes of them coming on board as well.
Yeah, so at the moment we just saw Marlon McMullen out there. He tried to improve. He did a 1:34.650 and he did not gain pole position.
No, but the last time by, Jordan Ross actually did manage to lift his fastest lap, so he's down to a 1:34.582, which is a little bit of a gap over Marlon, 1:34.649, so not a big lot of room to move between those two, but it's very easy to pick up a couple of tenths if you can get through, especially those back to chicane sections.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they'll be looking at trying to do, isn't it? We can see now Jared Fulsell, he's just coming out now, getting it all crossed up, and he nearly hits a fence. A bit too eager to get out of the pits, but he's back there now. See Brian Borg practicing some starts, so I would say he's pretty much happy with where he's starting. He'll be on the second row. Cooper Webster for WP Concreting, currently fifth. He's on a fast lap, so we'll have a look at him. So his last time was a 1:35.471. If he wants to move into the second row, he's going to have to beat a 1:34.969. Currently, he's at the back of the circuit here, and he's sitting on a 1:06.108 as he comes across the top of the circuit.
Yeah, and it's a big ask to try and find 5 tenths, especially around this circuit. It gets very dusty, especially as the cars run offline. Obviously, you're bringing a lot of dirt and gravel on very close, so he's going to have to keep his eyes on and look for that little bit extra grip that he can get.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's coming across now, 131, 132. He's going to run out of time. And he did a 135.409. So 135.392. He does improve by about 1/10 of a second, but it's not enough to move him up. So he'll be... keep on hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, folks. Okay, let's have a look at the weather. One of the viewers wanted to know about what the track conditions are out there at the moment. So it's mostly cloudy, 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit over here in Oulton Park.
Which is not a bad track temperature. It'll take a little bit for the tyres to get up. It's going to be a little bit cooler to begin with, but I think that'll sort of play into the guys' minds. Where do they want to start those tyre pressures before they move out on the grid? Yeah,
so they'll be looking at that no doubt now. Qualifying's pretty much come to an end. There's a few guys out there running. Can see Mitchell McLeod's out there completing his fast lap, currently in 6th, and I'm going to go crazy. Keep on hitting the grid button, folks. I'm really sorry about that. Well, let's go through the grid anyway, because we're going to be racing very shortly. So let's start with that. So looking at the grid is Jordan Ross will be starting from pole position. He set a time of 1:34.582. Marlon McMullen starting out of second. Jared Filsell, he'll start in the second row out of third, with Brian Borg accompanying him in fourth. Out of the third row tonight we have Cooper Webster. His time was a 1:35.392, and joining him on the third row is Mitchell McLeod, starting out of 6th with a 1:35.487. Starting out of 7th tonight is Brett Loxton, and then we have Craig Jones out of 8th. Out of 9th is Thomas Hinds, and he's joined on the grid by Jack Lemon, who will be starting in 10th position. Out of 11th tonight is Sean Thompson, and he will be starting next to Matt Morris. So that's your top 12.
Out of 13th tonight, we're going to have Tom Curran, who will line up alongside Paul Preston in 14th. Jacob Knight will start from 15th, with Henry King alongside him in 16th tonight. Following them, we've got Mark Samuels and Jacob Knight. Daniel Trim and Darren Lord will bring up 19th and 20th, followed by Luke Page and Peter Derrick for 22nd.
Yeah, out of 23rd tonight is Jaden Borg, and 24th, Mitchell Bales. Starting in 25th tonight is David Kinmond. He's joined on the grid by David Miller. Daryl Hockey will start out of 27th. James Bell out of 28th. 29th tonight, Kyle Stokes. He will be joined on the grid in 30th with Daniel Stevens. Out of 31st is Kai Sloggett. Then we have Brad Hay in 32nd. Matt Clowett, he'll start out of 33rd, and last on the grid, or wrapping up our field, we should say, in 34th is Shannon Mason. He did not set a time.
No, he didn't set a time, but that's not too bad. He's still obviously made the top split for this one tonight, but the grid's going to be pretty tight. There's a lot of guys inside that second range, and I think we're down to about 13th where we find them inside a second. So the cars are pretty consistent around here.
They certainly are. We can see Daryl Hockey there. He should flash back in a minute in that beautiful Stelson Sports Penrite livery. We'll try and get a better view of that. But let's get up to the front and get ready, because we're going to rumble very shortly. 34 cars will take to the grid here at Oulton Park. It's a 9-lap race with a pit stop, and 40-80. Do we get a random safety car? Do you know, Daniel?
I think we'll only get the random safety car, obviously, if there's a big wreck early on. Hopefully, if everyone can get through, and I think a lot of the track at the start lends to sort of 2-wide racing, we should be fine. But yeah, in the event there is a bit of a nasty one, the guys will call a safety car, rebunch the field, and they'll go under a rolling start the next time by.
Yep, fantastic. So just waiting for the rest of the field to make the grid. One bit of news here is Thomas Hinds. He's starting down there in 21st position tonight. So he's got a lot of work to do in 9 laps because, of course, folks, remember where they finish tonight is where they'll start race 2. Top 15 are reversed. 15 incident points, 1 fast repair for each race. And I reckon we might see a few fast repairs here as we're under driver's orders now, starter's orders now, and we'll be racing in very shortly. Okay, race one is underway, folks. 9 laps remaining. Mullen, he's got a good start on the inside as they go 3 wide into turn 1. And look at Jared Filsell around the outside, and we've got a car around already. The 017 was also involved in that.
Yeah, look, we had a couple of cars. That was Mitch McLeod going off, and I think Brian Borg's also at exit stage left as well.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at that replay, but at the moment, Jared Filsell, he leads Jordan Ross as they come into the Shell Oils corner for the first time. Then we've got Marlon McMullen, he's sitting in third. Cooper Webster, good start, up 1 position. In fourth, rounding out your top 5, Craig Jones.
Yeah, all in all, not too bad a start. Obviously, we did have a couple of incidents there. The guys got down to single file very quickly, and now they're making their way through the first of these 2 back chicanes and getting through pretty decently.
Yeah, they're doing a good job, aren't they? And we saw this last week. They also did a fantastic job and had a very clean start.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's just sort of finding their rhythm at the moment. It's obviously we've got Jared Filsell back out in front. He's probably going to try and walk away as he's starting to extend a bit of a lead over these guys now.
Yeah, and whenever Jared takes to the AOSC, he always makes his presence known. That's exactly what he's done once again tonight. He's jumped from third position straight up to first, and he's now getting a gap on Jordan Ross and Marlon McMullen. He'll be seeing Jared leaving these guys, and he'll be keen to try to jump Jordan if he can and try to close that gap.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking back at where our opening race casualties fared, Mitch McLeod's got himself back up to 22nd at the moment. Looks like Brian Borg has dropped down to 31st, so potentially in line for a stop if he's clouded that wall hard enough.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at him now. We'll go back and have a look at that replay. He got a lot of air, but it looks like he's got away with most of the damage. The rear is playing up a bit, though, as we see him getting a bit loose there, and he's got damage to the rear left quarter panel.
Yeah, and it looks like they've got a new sponsor on board that car tonight. I think is it Navica sponsorship there, so new livery for that team as well tonight.
Yeah, so we're going to go back and have a look at this and see where Brian Borg, it looks like Mitchell McLeod was involved in this incident as well. So let's jump back to the start here, and we'll just have a look at exactly how this unfolded. Keep an eye on the 017 starting in the second row on the inside. And he's already he was spinning the tyres, and that's what's cost him positions there as he comes around the corner. It's got the 209 on the outside. That's Brett Loxton, which he caught up with there. He got tangled up, and that has put him in the air. 2 wheels, missed the wall fortunately, and managed to regain composure and continue on. The other one was Mitchell McLeod. Let's have a look at how Mitchell McLeod's start happened. We saw him exiting into turn 1, and it looks like he just got very loose, but we'll have a look at this. See there, yeah, Mitch got tagged by the 34, and that's what spun him around. So a little bit messy, and then, of course, we saw Loxton also get tagged by, Loxton tagging Brian Borg. Yeah,
the 34, that's got Cooper Webster behind the wheel, so he made a great start, managed to get up past Brian Borg, and then just caught the rear edge of Mitch McLeod there. So got a great start, but just a little untidy on the beginning there.
Yeah, that's right. And also there was an issue with Mitchell Bales on the start as well, and he's actually retired from the race. We'll have a quick look at this. We don't want to miss all the action though, do we? Because they're very fast races.
Yeah, definitely. We're already working halfway through lap 3 at the moment, and just looking at the times, Mitch McLeod's got himself a 1.5 second gap over Jared Filsell has got himself a 1.5 second gap over Jordan Ross, who's in still pretty good battle here with Marlon McMullen for third. So Jared's managed to sort of get away, but second and third are definitely going hammer and tong at it.
Yeah, and we'll get back to the action very shortly. I want to have a look at here what's happened to Mitchell Bales. Apparently he's, big accident there at the start line. We can see Mitchell was involved, and so was the number 10, the 149 around, the Autobahn entry also around, and that's probably claimed 4 cars. But poor Mitchell here, he's had to retire that West End Mazda MFR entry, and it looked a bit nasty back there.
Yeah, he'll definitely be a bit disappointed. West End Mazda are doing a pretty decent job. Obviously, I believe they've got Cooper Webster as one of their drivers, and I think Thomas, no, he's a different one. There's a couple of others. I think Jacob Knight's another one of there as well. So they've got a few guys that are definitely pretty quick, and not what they want to see a car retiring that early on.
Oh, exactly right. And as we were saying at the start, he will start at the back for race 2. Matt Morris, he did not put a qualifying time down. He did not take to the track for the start of this race, so he was a DNS. Let's have a look at your top 10 standings at the moment. So we've got Jared Filsell leading the way. He's got a gap of 1.5 seconds back to Jordan Ross. Jordan's under a lot of pressure here from Marlon McMullen for second position. Cooper Webster, he's moved up to 4th. He is 2 seconds behind that battle pack. And then we have Craig Jones in 5th position. Moving further back, we've got Jake Lemon in 6th position and Brett Loxton 7th. 8th is Thomas Hinds, 9th Paul Preston, and rounding out your top 10 is Henry King.
Yeah, and looking at it now, I think our closest battle we've still got on hand is definitely for second and third at the moment with Jordan Ross and Marlon McMullen. And these guys are pretty well inseparable. Actually, what's happened there? Jared Filsell has lost a lot of time, and looks like he's lost the lead of the race, actually. Yeah,
I'd say he's had a slowdown because he's now picking up again, and he'll have to fight his way through once more. Oh, we've just had a car exit. That's Filsell into the wall.
Yeah, he had a very big slide through turn 1. Looks like he locked up the rear brakes, and not sure whether he got a bit of helping hand in that one, but yeah, he got helped by Marlon by the looks of it in the rear there.
Yeah, so let's have a look at what started this off, because as he comes across the start-finish line, he had a very large lead, 1.5 seconds. As he comes through, he's basically locked the rear end into turn 1 there, gathered it up. So that by that stage, you've got Marlon McMullen behind him, and Jordan Ross takes that position. Now let's have a look at this in super slow-mo to see if there was any contact here. That back end looks very, very loose. Just having a look, we've got a very poor camera angle here. Oh boy, we might have a look at that again from the nose cam to see if there was contact, but heavily into the wall, motor blown, end of race for Jared Filsell. Let's just jump back a bit and we'll see if we can get onto the rear of Filsell and have a look at his bumper cam just to see.
I actually think Filsell's actually clipped the pit lane button, because you see the little rain light on the rear of his car just before he gets tagged there. That starts flashing, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's bumped the wrong button there.
Okay, we're just having a look at this now. Yeah, you're right. You could hear it. He's hit the wrong button, and that's put the pit limiter on. And then Mitch McLeod has run up the back of him.
Yeah, that's Marlon McMullen. That's kind of left him a little bit of no man's land there. So he wouldn't have done that on purpose for sure. But it has now dropped him further back off Jordan Ross. They're up to a 3/4 of a second gap now, and that will take a little bit of time before that battle starts to heat up again.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. It was Marlon McMullen, as you said there, Daniel.
That's all right, mate. Just checking through, where have we got a few battles there? Looks like Craig Jones and Brett Loxton's starting to form up pretty good. That's for 4th and 5th. Those guys are up very close to each other at the moment. And looks like we've also got another one starting to turn up here with Thomas Hinds and Paul Preston for 7 and 8. So guys are trying to get the last few spots they can before the end of this race.
Yeah, it looks like I might have miscalled the grid line up there, because I said Thomas had started down in 21st position, but he actually started out of 9th, and he's up to 7th now. He's defending against Paul Preston, as you said, and right behind him is a watercraft entry of Henry King. Also, Tom Curran for Redback Racing Team. He's just jumping on the back of this battle pack, and he's in the top 10, so great start for Tom.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a four-car battle here. Henry King's really starting to put the blowtorch on the back of Paul, and I think Paul made a slight mistake through turn 1, sort of lost him a little time there, but Henry King's driving very sensibly, looking for a move, maybe up into the chicanes there.
Yeah, as we ride on board with him now, we're just coming down through Island Bend into Shell Corner, and we'll see him go down through the gears here, down into second. And then, of course, they go up the back straight here. They miss Britain's chicane. Oh, no, they're actually using it. God, I'm having a cracker tonight. As he goes through there, down to second gear, up over the hilltop, and then once again down into turn 10.
Yeah, and everyone's looking for a little bit of room there just to try and maybe get a better braking mark. Paul's got right up on the back. I think he actually touched the back of Thomas in that little braking manoeuvre there, but driving the wheels off this thing at the moment to get that spot.
It certainly is. We just saw there Henry just getting a bit crossed up on exit there. You can just see how hard these guys are working when you jump in to the gyro cam. But at the moment up front, Marlon McMullen and Jordan Ross are still duking it out. The gap was 0.5 of a second last time by. We'll check it now as they come across the start-finish line, and that gap is still at 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, there wasn't much difference between them. It looks like Marlon was fractionally quicker that lap by, but still pushing very hard to try and make up as the cars are wiggling all around there through turn 2.
Yeah, so and remember, folks, the top 15 will be reversed. So if we take that into account, the two drivers in the sweet spot, as I call it, is Thomas Hinds, Paul Preston. They'll pretty much start where they finish because the whole grid will reverse around them.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. It'll probably still keep this battle well alive, and looks like we got a bit of support there for Paul trying to get the moves. Looks like Gene Fitters is in the comments trying to give him a bit of a hurry up there.
Yeah, it's good to see. And as always, the crew, the chat room is abuzz. And for everyone in the other channels, just leave a comment below and it should come up for us to read. And of course, we're broadcasting live tonight on Twitch TV, Facebook, Mixer, Periscope, and YouTube.
We got a lot of there. We're going to get a lead change very soon here between Jordan and Marlon. Jordan was a little bit floaty through the back section there. It's closed Marlon right up onto him as these guys are about to start their final lap.
Yeah, and they're coming up to the back markers now, so that may affect them as well. But I tell you what, Paul Preston, he's working hard on the back of Thomas Hinds. But let's jump back up the front last lap here, 0.2 of a second, and Ken Marlon closed down Jordan Ross.
I would think he can through the back section. It looks like he's got a slightly better car. Maybe the setup's a bit more to his liking, but he's getting really racy behind him here now. Yeah,
he certainly is, and we'll see what he can do here. Of course, you know, these guys are fighting for points, but they will start out a 14th and 15th for race 2. So it'll be interesting to see how they go in that race and if they can make their way through the field. And I have a feeling the race will be a bit tougher for them. As we see there, Marlon McMullen just spinning up the tyres. Now he's going to have a look on the inside as they come down into turn 10 through the chicane left and right. And then they'll start making their way back up the hill.
Yeah, he's definitely better under brakes. He seems to lose a little bit on corner exit there, so maybe something to look into for the next race, but certainly got him on the brakes there.
Yeah, and just on the roof cam here, you can see the lines. You can just see and how Jordan's sliding as well as Marlon is. Marlon's going to have a look on the inside, not close enough, and it looks like race 1 is definitely going to go to Jordan Ross as they come down across the start-finish line for the final time.
Yeah, great race there by Jordan. It looks like Paul's still pushing hard to try and get Thomas. That gap's extended just a little more now, but got Jack Lemon and looks like Craig Jones still fighting as well. So there's a good few battles all around from everyone.
Certainly are, and once again Jamie McKnight into the top 10 in the WP concreting entry, and he's been getting a lot of training, I think, from Josh Rogers, I think it was.
Yeah, well, Jacob's come home in, where is he, in 14th, so he's going to have a front row start for race 2, which is not a bad place to be.
Yeah, well, exactly right. If you can stay out of trouble, although we did see quite a lot of the front row guys get, 2 of them get involved in a bit of a skirmish. That really happened because they didn't get the best start, spun the tyres up a bit and got swamped, I guess, by the second and third row.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not too sure what happened to Brian. He just didn't seem to get the drive, but it really sort of opened the door for Cooper Webster to get up there, and obviously he had a little bit of contact with Mitch McLeod, which I'm sure wasn't intentional, but yeah, he made probably the best start of the night for race 1.
Yeah, and we'll go through those positions now, won't we? But yeah, he got an awesome start. And as you said, the best start out of race 1. I feel sorry for the guys up the back there that got involved in that big incident, and which caused the retirement of Mitchell Bales there as well. But let's have a look at the final results of race 1, folks. So Jordan Ross, he takes the win. He led 5 laps of tonight's race. Marlon McMullen, he comes home in second. And then we have Cooper Webster up 3 positions to finish third. Brett Loxton also up 3 positions. He finishes in 4th. Jack Lemon, he finishes 5th. And Craig Jones in 6th. Thomas Hinds moved up to 7th. Paul Preston, he jumped 6 positions, come home 8th. Henry King, he moved up 7 positions to finish 9th. Then we've got Tom Curran, in 10th. 11th, Jamie McKnight, up 7 positions from his start. And Mark Samuel also up 5 positions to come home in 12th. And that's your top 12.
Yeah, home 13th, we had Daniel Trim, who got a nice little gain of spots there, up 6, followed by Jacob Knight, Luke Page, Peter Derrick, Jaden Borg had a good drive, 23rd to 17th. Mitch McLeod, who we saw have that big incident, dropped down to 18th. Darren Lord home in 19th, with David Kidmon home in 20th.
Home in 21st was Darryl Hockey up 6 positions, then Kai Sloggett 22nd, 23rd Brad Hay, and 24th Matt Clowett. All 3 of those jumped 9 positions. Out of 25th finishing 25th was David Miller. Brian Borg, we saw him involved in that incident. He came home 26 and never really recovered, and dropping 22 spots. 27th, Daniel Stevens, then Kyle Stokes comes home in 28th. 29th is Shannon Mason, and Sean Thompson also having a rough start tonight, dropping 19 positions to finish in 30th. 31st was James Bell. Jared Filsell, after hitting that pit limiter by the looks of it, from what we can tell, dropping 29 positions and losing the lead and retiring, classified 32nd, and Mitchell Bales also retired tonight, and he was classified in 33rd. Matt Morris, well, he was classified in 34th, but he did not take to the grid tonight.
Well, it was some good racing, and a couple of things to come out of tonight. Obviously, for race 1, Marlon McMullen set the fastest lap of the race on a 1:35 dead, and we did get some confirmation in the YouTube chat from Jared Filsell that there was a issue with the pit limiter, so that sort of put that one to rest as well.
Okay. Yeah, so that was your eagle eyes that picked that one up, wasn't it, when you had a look in saw the light on?
Oh, I don't know about the eagle eyes. That rain light was a bit interesting. I wasn't quite sure whether that was it or it was a break or something. But yeah, a bit of an odd one to happy, especially in this type of a race.
Yeah, and I think he started having problems from turn 1 there, because he got it all crossed up going through that corner, and that's where he fell. He lost that position to Jordan Ross, and then of course after turn 2, whatever went wrong was enough to. It sounded to me like a pit limiter, the way it revved. It might have jumped out of gear or something, but Marlon had nowhere to go but to run up his rear end, so to speak.
Yeah, that's it. That was a bit interesting. So that, the guys now will reset. Obviously, we mentioned the top 15 are going to reverse grid, so we're going to see Jacob Knight and I think Luke Page sitting on the front row for the second race, which is about 18 laps, so a little bit longer distance, and we've got that one pit stop. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially how the quicker guys go, pushing their way back up through this field.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really interesting with this top 15 reverse grid. Now, folks, what we're basically waiting on is for the server to come up, and as soon as it does, we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to be coming back for race 2. But I guess it's going to be a big weekend of racing for a lot of you watching tonight. I'm sure you'll all be up super early on Sunday, Australian time, to watch the Bathurst 12 hour. What about yourself, Daniel? You're going to tune into that one?
Yeah, mate, backing up 2 weekends in a row. I was up early Sunday morning for the start of the Daytona 24 and do the exact same this weekend as well.
Fantastic. I couldn't actually get the coverage of the Daytona. Every time I tried, the IMSA server kept on timing out.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of that sort of about that 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock sort of time. There was a lot of dropouts, which was really odd. But from early morning, ran quite well till about 9, and then not too bad for the rest of the afternoon. I think probably my wife was not very happy in watching it on the big screen, but no, it was good to see the race live like that.
Yeah, I would have loved to have watched it. As I said, I couldn't see it. But your commentary team tonight, folks, is Bernie Weemers. Myself and Daniel Leet is also in the comm box with me. And, Alex McCullough also says hi. He's streaming over there on Twitch at the moment. I'd like to see him in a V8 supercar running. That's what I want to see. So you can pass that one back to him, Riley, and tell him he needs to be in a V8 supercar in this series.
There could be something to go there. You could do a commentators race. That could be interesting. See which of us loudmouths behind the microphone is the fastest out there. It could be a bit of fun for everyone.
Well, you're stacking the deck because we know that you've probably got the most experience.
No, I'm nowhere near as good as some of those guys. I know we got a few guys that call the scops and that, and they normally race, or if not, are running in this one. So they're probably a lot faster than I am at this.
Yeah, maybe what we could do, and here's a throwdown, folks. Why don't we have a RRTV commentator versus V8's online commentator race? How would that be?
That could be interesting. I'd probably sit on the sideline and have an ice cream while everyone else runs it, but or a beer. But that could be interesting.
Yeah, and then we can have the on the fence ones. They can go down the middle.
Yeah, or quickest beer chug or something like that could be a lot of fun.
No, dearie me. So as we wait for this new server to come up, I'm surprised it hasn't come up yet, but tomorrow night, folks, the GT3s make their return here on RRTV. Have a look on our Facebook page and YouTube for the schedule. It hasn't gone up yet, but it will go up straight after tonight, and I'm very excited to have the GT3s back here on RRTV on a Saturday night. As far as the SRA goes, for the folks that watched that last season, that will be coming later on in the year, and that's the Sim Racers Asia series, and it showcases a lot of the top Asian drivers from China and all over the Asian region, as well as the Oceanic region. Yeah,
I am looking forward to SRA coming back. That's one series I love doing. Obviously, still enjoy the V8s, but the GT3s are probably my passion, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go. I don't know. I haven't been near a GT3 for a long time, so I don't know how well balanced they are now. I would assume they would be, as polarity-wise, pretty close. Pretty close. I think still working a little bit of balance of performance out. I know towards the end of last season, the Ferrari was pretty sketchy, and I think the Audis got a lot better. I think they're still overall chasing the McLaren AMG for the outright speed. That car just seems to dominate. I don't know what it is with that, but
It's going to be interesting to see. I know we got some new cars coming out. I think there was a rumour of the LMP1 cars coming out, so that could be interesting also.
Yeah, that's what the delay I think is with the SRA, is they're waiting for those LMP1 cars to come out and to put them in their series. And of course, once they do start, it'll probably be a year-long series with those guys anyway. So hopefully the LMP1s will come out soon. The other one I'm really interested in seeing is the time of day changes. iRacing put out that teaser video of Le Mans showing the different stages from morning through the evening back into the morning again, and of course it said, work under construction or whatever it was. But it was a subtle video, I thought, because they didn't say, hey, look at what's coming. They left it up to the viewer to work out what was going on there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's probably waiting for that as much as they're waiting for rain, and I think now iRacing's kind of getting to that point where they've worked out track, what would you call it, changes as far as, say, dirt racing is concerned. You can work out from the wet to the dry. So, theory, replicating that in reverse for rain shouldn't be too hard. But then, how does the grip levels go with track evolution for rain versus dry and all that sort of thing? But day and night, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to probably be weird for us in Australia though, where we'll start racing in pitch black at night and it'll be day on the track at the time. We'll get to midday, it'll be night on in game and daylight here, and then reverse again. So I don't know how we're going to cope with it.
Yeah, I'd hope that when you set up a session that it would allow you to work out the start of the time of day, which could be interesting. But yeah, you're right. If you're racing on a European race and it's daytime there, nighttime here, it'll be interesting. But it's definitely going to bring a new element to the 24-hour type races like Le Mans, the Daytona 24-hour. I think a lot of the guys are going to find that extra challenging through the night phase.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably going to also make you think more about your setup as well. Obviously, we know we can't do a lot once the race starts. You're basically limited to tyres and, depending on the car, maybe a bar adjustment here and there. But coming into that type of thing, it's going to really make people think up where do they want to be quicker, what time of the day. So it's going to open a whole new can of worms as far as strategy is concerned too.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I might get you just to jump over and see Nick and find out how they're going with those servers, if you don't mind, Daniel.
Yep, I'll be back in a minute.
So sorry about this, folks. There's a bit of a delay getting the servers up, and they're running in tournament mode tonight, so it may be giving the race administrators a bit of an extra challenge tonight. First time they've used it, so there could be a few teething problems there. But Daniel will be back very shortly. But some other news, of course, we mentioned was Stealth Sim Sport has got a ambassador, and they're now an official ambassador for Penrite Oils, and that's a very big news. The other news, last week Redback Racing announced new partnerships with Inzen, which is a web design company, and Bow Repair. So they've been signed up with them, and they've also carried their other sponsor, Secura Safe Storage, has come on board with them once again. And of course, if you see the cars out there, they're no longer running the red and black livery. They're running an orange, blue and white livery, which is the first time in Redback Racing, I think, that they've gone from that traditional. I could be wrong. I think they did try a white livery for a bit, but they went back to their normal colours. Yeah, so folks, put in your comments. What are you going to be doing this weekend? Are you going to be sitting down watching the Bathurst 12-hour, or possibly you might even be lucky enough to be up there? Okay, so the servers have just come up, folks. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we get back, we will be bringing you race 2 of the Australian Online Supercar Championship Round 3 Oulton Park 4080. Hi there folks, welcome back to the live coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship, coming to you live from Oulton Park. We can see the cars out there at the moment just doing their warm-up before race 2 kicks off. We're due for race 2 to start at about 10:45 p.m, so if you want to go and grab yourselves a drink, and don't be too long though, or else you're going to miss the start of the race. So Daniel, it sounded like the race control had a few issues getting the second server up.
Yeah, just a few little minor things. Obviously, first time we've kind of run this arrangement for this Australian Online Sports Car Championship, so not quite sure if it's worked out the way it should. We're hoping, obviously, the top 15 have reversed. I think potentially maybe the top 10, which is a little unfortunate, but yeah, Nick was saying he found that the way it was transitioning the two servers was trying to pick up first place from split 1 and 2 and add them into one server. So hopefully he's been able to sort it, but yeah, just be something we'll have to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, reverse grids and these sprint races, they're quite a challenge there for race control. They work very, very hard to get these races right. They do an awesome job. It's the same with the rallycross. Watching the race control and race admins behind the scenes putting that series together, they were working overtime as well to make it all come together.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Obviously, we get to report on the good stuff and show that with all the racing. But yeah, a lot of behind the scenes work that the guys have to go into to make sure that it works how they envisage it should for everyone else.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have a look back at a quick replay here of Brian Borg correcting a slide. So let's have a look at this. And the reason we're going back to have a look, folks, is just to show you the sort of car control some of these drivers have when they get these things crossed up. So a very nice 360 there down the back straight, and off he goes. That's an old go-kart move, that one.
Yeah, not something you'd want to attempt mid-race, I don't think. But it's, I think the car control definitely has gone a lot better now. Obviously, as you mentioned, you've got rallycross out there where the guys can sort of fling the cars around a bit more. But it's makes it a lot more enjoyable. Obviously, the newer hardware is helping with that, especially the guys that are fortunate enough to run the OSWs. They get a lot more control to grab hold of that wheel and slide it out. But no, good job there, and I think hopefully he can use those skills a bit later on.
Yeah, well, he had a not so good start, did he, with that tangle with Brett Loxton there, and that really started into turn one. But let's have a look at our qualifying, our practice standings anyway, with a minute 25 to go. So Jordan Ross is the fastest in practice with a 1:35.199. Paul Preston second, Craig Jones third, fourth Brett Loxton 1:35.466, and Henry King is your top five. Once again, the times look a bit slower than race one.
Yeah, they're not too far off. Obviously, we know our quickest race or lap of the race last time by was a 1:35 dead almost. So they're only 0.2 of a second behind that currently. So not too far off. Maybe a little bit more fuel just to sort of make sure that balance is right. But generally pretty consistent by the looks of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, it looks fairly consistent. The other thing we missed in race one, I thought they had to do a pit stop, but that wasn't the case. I wonder in race 2, 80k race, if we're going to see the pit stops occur here.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'd like to think it should happen. There's no notes to say there's a reduced fuel window, so potentially, here we go, 50% fuel, so may play into factor later on.
Yeah, and of course they've got the 15 incident limits, one fast repair up their sleeves, and we saw a few guys, well, they used them, but their cars were so trashed, I think they just retired the cars.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get out of position and you do bend the car that bad, it's very hard to come back. Obviously, you've got the time of a tow, so it's hard to sort of come back out and then be anywhere near competitive to make up positions if you're in one of those incidents.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the grid, folks, see where your favourite driver will be starting. Remember, it should be reverse grid. So Darren Lord will start from pole position. He's joined with Brett Loxton next to him. Third is Cooper Webster. Fourth, Marlon McMullen. Fifth, Jamie McKnight. Sixth, Henry King. Out of seventh is Tom Curran. 8th, Paul Preston. 9th, Mark Samuel. Daniel Trim will start out at 10th. 11th, Jacob Knight. And Luke Page round out your top 12.
Yeah, I don't think we've quite got the grid where we want, but in 13th tonight we've got Peter Derrick, Craig Jones in 14th, Thomas Hinz in 15th, followed by Jordan Ross in 16th. 17th tonight is Jaden Berg, Daniel Morris out at 18th, Mitch McLeod in 19th, David Kidwan out at 20th, Dale Hockey in 21st tonight, and Kai Sloggett in 22nd.
Yeah, and we're about to go racing, folks, so we won't call the rest of the grid, but you can see Darren Lord on the outside there in the tempo, and he's got the 200 on the inside of him, and a nice clean start from the front row. Looking further back, it doesn't look like there's any incidents, but Darren Lord takes the lead, gets it a bit crossed up there. It's going to compress the field. Webster's trying to get through. Loxton on the outside. It's getting a little bit messy now.
Yeah, it sure is. Marlon McMullen was 3 wide into turn 1 as well, so the guys are really pushing hard to get those couple of spots, and it looks like what we got here, Darren Lord's quite a bit slower compared to the guys around him, and it looks like it's holding back Henry King there as Marlon McMullen just goes wide.
Yeah, and we also saw Craig Jones go wide out of turn 2, losing a number of positions. He's dropped down to 21st as we see further cars. I'm just trying to get a number of that car that's running across the outfield there. But your top 5 at the moment, we have Brett Loxton leading, Cooper Webster in second. Third is Henry King. Then we can see Marlon McMullen, Jamie McKnight. Marlon takes him into the chicane in turn 10 there. Now Jamie McKnight's coming under pressure from Tom Curran in 6th position. 7th is Paul Preston. 8th, Danny Trim. 9th, Jordan Ross. Mitch McLeod, he's still in 10th position and trying to make his way forward.
Yeah, look at that positions gained. Mitch McLeod, biggest mover so far, up 9 spots, so making his way forward up into the top 10 now. Darren Lord, probably our biggest loser out of this. I think he's stepped aside a lot of it. He's down to down 15 spots in 16th now.
Yeah, he was getting absolutely monstered, wasn't he, at the start there? He got it all crossed up and the whole field compressed up. So I'd say he felt, instead of causing an incident, he'd step aside. But he's now coming under pressure from Mark Samuel. You can see Brian Borg down here in 18th position, missing his boot lead. So the start of his race hasn't been any better than race one, and carrying a lot of damage with that car. The other one that did not make to the grid tonight, folks, was Jared Filsell. Did not start, neither did Brad Hay. Kai Sloggett has already got out of his car, and that was towed to the pits, and they've called it a night.
Yeah, and it looks like, I've just gone back here to Brian Borg. He lost his boot lid on lap one into the first set of chicanes there. He got rear-ended by one of the CMR cars, I think it was. I don't know who was behind the wheel of that one, but yeah, he's lost that rear wing off it.
Okay, we'll go back and have a quick look. So you were saying it was a fair ways through though, wasn't it?
Yeah, about chicane number one on the opening lap, and I think it was Craig Jones actually who was behind him, and kind of ran out of a bit of braking room as the guys in front all checked up, and he just went into the back there. I think it was Mark Samuels actually in front of Brian Borg there as well.
Be interesting to see. Daniel Stevens appeared to have jumped the start as well on that. Either that or he got a good start and everyone around him was napping. But have a look at the replay here. We can see Borg on the back of the 13. He's got the 149 behind him, and we can just see Craig Jones behind him. So yeah, I think it was right up at turn 10 where this must have occurred. We'll stay with this, folks, just to find out where this incident occurred. I think it's coming up into Britain's. That'll be the next chicane. He's got the way south entry of Craig Jones behind him. Yeah, there was a nose-to-tail action there. Brian got into the 53, jumped on the brakes. Craig then concertinaed, I guess you could call it. Typical peak hour traffic incident, that one.
Yeah, but if anything, not having that wing won't affect him too much. We know these cars are generally pretty quick once they lose them, and now that we've got a couple of laps under the belt, just checking the quickest lap, we've got Marlon McMullen on a 1:34.9, so actually quicker than they were in race one at the moment.
Yeah, so looking at your top five, at the moment they haven't really changed. Brett Loxton is still leading. He's stretched out a gap to 1.2 seconds over Cooper Webster. Cooper's defending against Henry. Henry's not quite close enough yet to take him. Then we've got Marlon McMullen sitting up there in fourth position. Fifth is Jamie McKnight. Sixth, Jordan Ross. Seventh, Tom Curran. Eighth, Mitchell McLeod, and ninth is Paul Preston, followed by Danny Trim in 10th.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a good little train starting to build up soon here behind Jordan Ross at the moment. So, as you mentioned, Tom Curran, Mitch McLeod, Paul Preston, and Daniel Trim. So, some pretty quick drivers there, and not a lot of distance between these guys at the moment.
No, they're nicely spaced out though, aren't they? So they're not going to trip over each other. It's going to be interesting though if pit stops play a factor in this. And we could see the 143 struggling. Well, he's not struggling. That's Jordan Ross, but he's missing the whole front bonnet assembly. So he's also had some action there in the starting laps.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much as far as speed. Obviously, he'll get that one quick repair and can tidy that one up. But probably not the start of the race he wanted with a bit of contact there, though.
No, that's right. And just looking back to see if we can find any battles, because the top 10 are pretty well spread out. Have a look, Brian Borg there with Daryl Hockey, and you can see the 006. This is a new livery for Stealth Sim Sports, showing the Penrite Oils logos down the side there, and it's nicely professionally turned out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a change to the livery that we launched at the start of the year. Obviously white now being black, but maybe some new works on the way. I think Daryl Hockey's actually just blowing his engine.
Yeah, he did. Just we'll jump back and have a look at that. He's pulled off just as we're talking about him. He's popped it. Let's jump on board with him and find out where it's happened here. Bring the telemetry up. It might go bang, folks, but you know it's about to happen. His third gear. Yeah, he's something's failed on that car or his shifter, because he went from fourth gear down to 0 and the revs kept on climbing. So it's like a misshift, but he just could not get that gear.
Yeah, he's going to really struggle to get it home, especially from where he had that interest. So that was through Druid's corner there, turn 15, where he had that. And I don't know that he's going to be able to make it down the hill through 16 and up. And he's just pulled that one to the side now.
Yeah, he's pretty much pulled it to the side. He's been towed back to the pits, and they're doing it. The other cars that have also spent a bit of time in the pits was Darren Lord. He's down 25th now. He had a very long time in the pits. Craig Jones, he has taken a pit stop, 10.5 seconds, and Daniel Morris also has taken a pit stop of 12.1 seconds.
Yeah, I think we're probably generally going to see stops between that sort of 7 to 10 second range for the guys to come out. No one will want to worry about tyres. It'll be just a quick splash of fuel, get them home and do what they got to do. It's probably not a bad move by Craig to come in early on, get himself a bit of clear track and go on from there. But we'll have to just keep an eye just to see where his lap times sort of play out compared to everyone else now.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess Craig's a long way down though, isn't he? He's had a bit of a rough run, but it'll be interesting to see where he does finish once pit stops do take effect. We can see here Daniel Trim, he's having a bit of battle with Paul Preston here. Right behind him is Jacob Knight, who's also carrying rear end damage, but looking very racy all the same. Peter Derrick, he's defending against Thomas Hines, and we know when Thomas gets his head down, he does not take prisoners, and he's sitting in 13th at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to start coming under a bit of pressure too from Jaden Borg just behind him, and another one of those Stealth Sim Sport cars, so not too far off. And Jaden's moved up from 17th on the grid to 14th, so a good little climb from him. Thomas has also gained some spots as well, up from 15th to 13th, so a few guys are starting to work their way up again.
Yeah, and there was an incident just ahead of them that we saw, and that was Jacob Knight. And we'll go back and have a look at that replay, because he's come off second best coming out of Britain's. And let's have a look at this. So we can see he was actually slowing, and then the 98, the Hoonigan, got into the side of him there, and both of them into the wall very heavily. The 098 was, trying to get a name for you here, folks, it was Peter Derrick.
Yeah, that was a very weird one. Jacob was a long way off pace and very late into the apex for that chicane there, so not quite sure what's happened in that exchange.
Yeah, a few of the viewers are saying that was unfortunate that we're talking about the new livery when Darrell's motor popped, and yeah, it's just a commentator's curse, I'd say.
Yeah, no digital oil was harmed in the making of this race tonight.
Exactly right. We can see Tom Curran here. He's defending from Mitchell McLeod. Mitchell is moved up to 6 positions, 13 from where he started. So he's looking at getting a nice haul of points. I wonder in these reverse grids if they actually get... They probably don't get points for positions gained. They'll probably just get them on finishing.
Yeah, I believe so. I think obviously we'll still give a bit of a shout out to probably biggest mover and shaker in the races again, as we normally do. But yeah, look, this is going to be some good solid battles, and we're still getting a few more guys filtered through the pits. We just recently had Jaden Borg and Brian Borg, no relation between the Borgs there, and they came in for their stops back out on track together again. I'm really surprised though Brian didn't take that quick repair and tidy up the boot of that car.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not affecting him, and he's decided just to leave it the way it is, or he forgot to take it. But Mitchell McLeod at the moment riding on the roof cam here, and he's giving the hurry up to Tom Curran. This is for 4th and 5th as the pit stops start to take shape. Looking at the fastest pit stop at the moment, that goes to Thomas, who was it? Luke Page, 8.2 seconds. Thomas Hinds just did a 8.2 second stop as well. Or has he? Yeah, 8.2 is the fastest time.
Yeah, so some pretty quick stops. The guys won't need a lot of fuel. I think I've also got somewhere here a 7-second stop. I think that was Daniel Lord. So the guys are getting through them pretty quick. It is shaking up that field a little bit more because they're going to have to sort of wait, get a feel of how those cars go now with a little bit extra fuel again.
Yeah, we can see Tom Curran now. He's dropped a long way off. We saw he was defending against Mitchell McLeod there. Mitchell's all the way up to 3rd. Tom Curran has dropped all the way down to 6th position.
Yeah, I'm expecting once these stops do take effect, we're going to really shuffle this up. I'm just watching here, Mitch, who we got here? Marlon McMullen dropped quite a long way back down into the 19th spot after his trip down the lane. So it is shaking up the field a little bit more, and when these guys decide to come in is going to be real important.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the replay there. The reason Tom's dropped a lot is he had a bit of side action there with Mitchell McLeod down into the hairpin there, up on 2 wheels, nearly collected the fence and off onto the outfield. So he survives for another day, but down there in 6th, he's now battling it out with Danny Trim at the moment. 10 laps remaining.
And just having a quick look through the incident limit, a lot of these guys are a fair way away from, I think, Daniel Stevens in the 66, currently in 12th. It's probably our highest incident driver at the moment with 8, but everyone else is sort of around that 2 to 3 incident points at the moment.
Okay. Sorry, my voice is gone.
That's all right. We'll jump back up here. We've still got Cooper Webster out in front. What's up to 4-second lead over Jordan Ross. Mitch McLeod really starting to close in on Jordan Ross ahead of him. There's about a 1.5 gap between 2nd and 3rd at the moment as also.
Yeah, and safety car is out, folks, so this is going to be interesting. The leader from pit stops is Henry King. So once the pit window opens, the guys that will probably take their stop, I guess, would be Cooper Webster, Jordan Ross, Mitchell McLeod, Paul Preston, Daniel Trim, Tom Curran, David Miller, and the last one is James Bell. So what do these guys do now?
I think they're going to be forced to come in. It's going to be hard for them to stay out there. Obviously, knowing that the guys have stopped, they're not going to be able to make up enough of a gap where it's viable for them to come in. So they're kind of stuck in a bit of a rock and a hard place. They can't really afford not to do it, even though they don't want to. So I reckon most of these guys will come back through, which will promote Henry King, who is the first of our pit stop runners up into the lead of this race.
That's right, and then if they do come in, Brett Loxton will be restarting in 2nd, Brian Borg 3rd. Next to him would be Marlon McMullen. Then we'd have Jaden Borg and Thomas Hinds. So, excuse me, it's anyone's race still. And I tell you what, Marlon is in a very, very good position when this race restarts. Yeah,
he certainly is. He's definitely. We've seen him have really good pace tonight. Who's that off on the field? Was that Daniel Morris out in the weeds on turn 1 there? I don't know what he's doing out there.
I'm just trying to find him on my telemetry at the moment so we can pick that up. There he is. He's back on the track now.
Yeah, way out in the weeds through turn 1. I think he just maybe got in there too hot. The car didn't turn, and that's not really what you want to see happening under a safety car for sure.
Yeah, we'll have a look. He's got Brian Borg in the 017 behind him. And what's he done? He just hasn't... it's like he didn't lift. Not sure what that was. That was a bit interesting.
Yeah, very odd, that one. I'm not sure what's actually taken place there.
Yeah, so as per usual rules in the AOSC, folks, and Danny Trim, he's off. I think Danny's out of fuel. No, he's back on. What are they doing? Are they decided they're going to mow the lawn today or something?
I think they're trying to get some wave rounds here sorted out, and it was as Daniel Morris was making his way up, we had one of the cars a bit off and then had to sort of exit stage right onto the grass and let him through.
Okay, so Daniel Morris has got that wave through. He was the only one on the lap down, so there's only one wave by. But as I was saying with the AOSC folks, the pit lane will be open this time by. They've done their wave arounds. Next lap, though, we'll be back to racing here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. We're expecting the top 8 to have to come in to take service. That's going to put them down at the end of the longest line. We had 31 cars take to the grid, 2 non-starters, Jared Filsell, Brad Hay. We've had 2 retirements, Peter Derrick and Kai Sloggett.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wonder how many of these guys may roll the dice and stay out, hoping that on this restart there's a big lot of carnage behind them. If they come in now, which we're assuming they're going to have to do, they're going to be absolutely swamped, and it's nowhere in this race come the start of it again. Yeah,
Duckman's concerned. He told me I've got to drink some more water. If I need it, I should take a break. But yeah, I think I'm right. I've got water next to me. I think it's water. It could be vodka, but I think it's water.
Yeah, and it looks like we're getting the stops come through now. So Cooper Webster's in. Who else do we have? We had Mitch McLeod in there. Let's try to work out. Paul Preston's been in. We've got quite a few guys, and they're all pushing to get out now. So the stoppers who didn't come in this time by, we had Jordan Ross, Tom Curran, and James Bell haven't come through the lane.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? Because they're going to have to stop. I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to get home. They're at the just over the halfway mark now, and I don't know. If you pit under yellow, are you going to lose more spots than if you pit under green? I would think not. I could be wrong.
I realistically think you're going to be at the back of the field regardless of what you do from now on. So your only real hope is there's going to be some carnage at the start. But when the guys come in, effective race leader for this right now is going to still be Henry King, and he's sitting pretty comfortable there.
Yeah, folks, and you might remember I asked a couple of questions, laid down a challenge to Mr. McKellar to jump in this series. He said no, he's not into that. He's not going to do it. So that's the breaking news. The other question I asked you folks was, what were you going to do over the weekend? Watch your Bathurst 12 hour. Well, Mr. Ozier, he's going to be spending his weekend painting, but Wilton's Warrior said he's going to be watching the 12 hour from his home. He's going to cheer for Lounsey and Gizzy, but for now he's supporting the FRA Motorsport for tonight.
Yeah, well, if you're sitting there on the computer doing some liveries, I'm sure with the amount of screens that we've all got here, someone's bound to have a race streamed on one of their third screens while they're getting in touch with the Photoshop and sorting out another nice livery.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm not sure. Is Andrew on Photoshop painting? I sort of imagined he was painting his house or something, but you could be right. He could be doing another livery.
Yeah, I presume it's livery. I don't think we'll see him on an easel and the paintbrush out. So more than likely it'll be Photoshop. It looks like we got the lights out on the safety car as well, so the guys are going to be getting ready to go green this time by also.
Yeah, so potentially Jordan Ross will lead the field off unless he ducks straight into the pits this time by. Tom Curran will start behind him, James Bell, and then comes the first of the pit stoppers. We'll have Henry King starting out of 4th, Loxton 5th, Borg 6th, Marlon McMullen 7th, 8th, Jaden Borg, 9th will be Thomas Hins. Rounding out your top 10 is Darren Lord.
And just still keeping an eye on where our incident limits are. Our current leader is Daniel Morris down in 24th there. He's got 10 against him. So the guys have still got a little bit to play with 7 laps here to go.
And here we go, folks. Henry King got a blinder start already. He's moved up to third, dropping Brett Loxton, having a look on the inside now of Tom Curran. Doesn't quite have the speed yet, but Henry King is on the move forward.
Yeah, great drive from Henry at the start. Read it really well. We got a car turned around. Who is that going off? That's Shannon Mason. Into turn 2, got spun around there.
Yeah, and he's gone to the back of the pack. So we'll jump back and have a very quick look at this, folks, and then we'll jump back up to the start, because I want to see how this is going to unfold with this pit stop. So we can see there Shannon Mason. He was on the outside of Tom Curran there. Had a really good start, but then they started boxing up a little bit, didn't they? And he's just ahead of Curran, and Curran spins him, turns him around.
Yeah. Tom's probably really had to go. He's got to make the distance now to try and avoid losing as many laps. Probably not ideally what he's wanted to do there with the spin, but no doubt that'll be looked at post-race by the stewards. And Tom's still holding off Henry King here for third, so doing a pretty good job. Jordan Ross trying to gap this field a little bit now.
Yeah, and James Bell, the other one that hasn't stopped, he's down in 7th position at the moment. But we'll see when Jordan and Tom come in. It's an interesting strategy these two are playing at, because to make it work, they're going to need a heck of a gap. You can see Jordan Ross, he is bolting at the moment, and he's got a gap of 0.2 of a second back to Tom Curran, defending now Henry King. Further back, Brett Loxton, Marlon McMullen, 4th and 5th, and then Brian Borg in 6th.
Yeah, and Brian's getting up pretty good here on James. Obviously, we know James has still got to stop, so that's effectively Brian in 6th position at the moment, and not too bad for him. Brian Borg still pushing to get back up onto Marlon McMullen, who's got his hands full with Tom Curran, and who was that? Henry King with a big wiggle into the hairpin.
Yeah, we're riding with him when that happened, and you can see he's really pushing hard to move forward. Brett Loxton's having a great race as well in the Kimmy Rural fencing entry, and then he's got Marlon McMullen now on the inside having a look as they come into the turn 10 chicane. Deep under brakes is... I'll tell you what, Brett was trying to hang on to the outside there, did a fairly good job trying to keep that overlap, but of course then Marlon got the inside.
Yeah, great job from Marlon there. That's you're going to take that spot every lap or every day of the week with that, but good effort from Brett to try and hold in there and not give it up too easy.
Oh, exactly right. He made him work for it, didn't it? And I'll tell you what, Tom Curran at the moment, he's defending against King. King having a look on the inside as it comes through the final corner. Still not enough there to make it work. The gap now Jordan Ross has is over 1 second. 1.8 seconds is the gap. He's trying to get as big a gap as he possibly can before he comes to take his stop.
Yeah, and he was also the fastest driver out that lap as well, 1:36.1 dead. So going like the clappers to get away from these guys at the moment, still with a 2-second lead. And Tom's doing an awesome job holding off Henry King behind him, but now we've got Marlon McMullen in this one as also.
Yeah, we're on the roof cam here with Marlon, and you can see him, he was going to stick the nose down the inside of Henry. Henry saw it coming and defended, but I tell you what, they're crawling all over each other here. Tom Curran's doing a fantastic job out front of this pack, keeping second position and making these guys work for it.
Yeah, he sure is. The one you got to feel for at the moment is Henry King. Marlon's going up the inside again with that move under brakes, and he just gets it pulled up there. He's really wide, but Marlon's definitely found something and is pushing bloody hard to get up there now.
Yeah, we're riding on the roof cam there. He went past Henry like he was standing still, and I was wondering if he was actually going to pull that up, but he did. And I guess, these guys out front, they have to stop, don't they? I think it's a mandatory stop.
It is a compulsory stop, so they've got to get in there before the end of this race. We're down to 4 laps to go, so really running out of time to do it. Jordan Ross heads across the line for another one, and his lead now is at 2.6 seconds.
and Curran got a bit of a bad run off the final corner there, but he recovered. Marlon McMullen, as we saw, has taken Henry King. Now Marlon's on the back of Curran. He wants the lead of this race. I tell you what, he's going to have it, because these two guys have to go to the pits, and then he'll re-inherit the lead. He just swept past Tom Curran there, and now Henry King on the outside as they come into the hairpin here. Tom Curran looks like his car's starting to suffer with tyres possibly, and he loses another position. Brett Loxton is the next one up to inherit fourth position.
Yeah, not too far behind these guys, sort of closing up. You got Brian Borg and Jaden Borg trying to get their way into this little battle as well, but Tom Curran had a huge slide through turn 2 there, and that really opened the door for Henry to come up the inside.
Oh, there's contact there with Loxton and Curran, hip and shoulder through the chicane, and Curran holds that position. But it's look at his car getting off the corners. It's just wheel spinning. His tyres must be going right off at this point.
Yeah, not too sure if you can do anything with a bar adjustment to help him there. It was good awareness from Brett to redress that situation, but yeah, Tom's going to have to get in very soon for that stop.
He certainly does. Once again into the final corner there, takes a different line. He's got Loxton on the inside. What's Curran going to do? He's staying out. He's determined to stay out as long as he possibly can. Loxton back on the inside, turn 1. Curran has lost another position. Here comes Borg, and Curran is a sitting duck at the moment.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to hold this one, I don't think, on the outside with Brian. Up the inside, looks like Jaden's going for a run with him also, but up front we've still got Jordan Ross extending that lead over Marlon McMullen as well, but yeah, Tom Curran's had to just succumb to both Borgs there.
Yeah, and look at the car sliding through mid-corner there, and that's allowed Darren Lord had to check up there.
Yeah, Tom's doing a good job to work with what he's got, but he's really starting to fall back now. I think those tyres are well and truly gone, and he is a bit of a sitting duck, as you said earlier on.
Yeah, I think he just needs to get that car in, take the pain, put some fresh rubber on, because he's actually going back through the field while he stays out there, which is probably making it worse than what it would have been if he had to come in a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like we're starting to see that gap between Jordan Ross and Marlon coming down. Marlon set the quickest lap last time by on a 1:35.8, so he's definitely got a fair bit more pace in this car at the moment.
Yeah, and here comes Jordan Ross. He's in the pits now. We'll see where he feeds out. What's Tom Curran going to do? He should be following him. He is also coming in. And James Bell down here in 21st also has to come in. And he's suffered greatly, hasn't he, since the restart?
Yeah, he has, sure has. That's going to open the door quite nicely for Marlon, who's got a huge lead at the moment. What are we up to? About 3.3 seconds over Henry King, so Marlon's pretty much got this one in the bag at the moment.
And here comes Jordan Ross. He's feeding out right behind Paul Preston there, down into 21st position. He did a stop of 6.6 seconds, but it wasn't enough, as we see now, Paul Preston going around.
Yeah, I've just seen another slow car coming into pits. That's Kyle Stokes. I think he's also another one who's blowing an engine in that Autobahn car as well. So I think that's not done for Kyle also. Yeah,
just having a look at this. Oh, it was actually, he got... Who was that next to him? The 140. I'll try and work out who that was. One of the Zuva entries got right into the side of... that was Jordan Ross. Right into the side of Paul Preston there and spun him out. But he's just now taken the 006. Meanwhile, up front, Marlon McMullen lead 3.1 seconds. He's run away with this. Brett Loxton second. He's defending against Henry King at the moment. In fact, it looks like he's taken that position. Then we've got Brian Borg, Jaden Borg in fifth, and Darren Lord, David Kinmond, Mitchell Bales, Jamie McKnight in 9th, and Mark Samuel rounds out your top 10. As far as the weather goes, one of the viewers wanted to know, it's basically 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, the same weather we had in race 1.
And now that we're into the pointy end, last lap of the race, we're just going to have to keep an eye here on Brett Loxton, sitting in 2nd place. He's up on the 14 incident points, so could potentially be a DNF if he's not careful.
Yeah, he's on to the last lap now, so he's just got to take it home, keep it on the, I was going to say green stuff, no, the grey stuff. But at the moment, our race leader, Marlon McMullen, comes down through the chicane for the final time here, and it looks like it's going to be a well-deserved win to the WP Concreting sponsored, what's he driving, Holden? It's a Holden.
Yep, insert Holden on joke here. But no, Marlon's done a great job, walked away with this one, 4.6 seconds up the road at the moment, and not going to be headed for this one.
Oh, man, I didn't even think of the Holden on joke. That's a good one, I like it.
Yeah, we still have a bit of a battle with Henry King and Brett Loxton to round out the podium. I think this one's going to go the way of Brett Loxton in another Holden there. So Henry King come home 3rd in that Falcon with the 2 Borgs just behind them.
Yeah, then David Kinmond, he comes home in 5th position. Jamie McKnight had him finish in 6th, so he's jumped 3 positions in that last lap.
Yeah, that's a good little jump there. I didn't see what the cause of that was. Looks like Mitch McLeod's come home in 12th. Mitch Bales is in, so not too bad overall.
Yeah, so just having a look at how this transpired. We're having a look at Jamie McKnight here. I think he made that move earlier on.
Yeah, I might have to duck back and check that one out, but certainly some good moves all around. I'm just looking to see. I think our biggest mover tonight has got to be Mitchell Bales. Started 31st on the grid, up to 11th, so it's not a bad drive, all things considered.
Yeah, he would have been a lot stronger, but Jamie's just given him a little bit of a tap into the final corner there to loosen him up a bit and take that position away from him, and that's caused Mitchell to lose probably about 3 spots. So that was an awesome race. What did you think of it, Daniel?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good short format. Interesting the way the strategy played out. I could see, I think Jamie's got a bit of a night wondering whether everyone came in for a stop, but it adds a little more spice. Everyone knows it's out there, and it certainly changes the field if you're not careful of it. And I think we saw a few guys tonight miss out on it, but overall the racing itself was quite good to watch.
Yeah, well, I can tell Nick now from our telemetry, 1, possibly 2 people did not make a stop. James Bell did not stop from the telemetry. The other ones in question are the ones that got towed back. I'm sure towing back includes a stop, but the telemetry says not. But that was Daryl Hockey. We saw him with the blow-on motor. He did recover. And the other one was Darren Lord, but considering they had lengthy stops, it should have counted it.
Yeah, looks like Daryl's on mine does count as a stop. The only ones I don't see, as you mentioned, were James Bell there, and then Brad Hugh and Jared Filsell, which I don't think we saw Brad and Jared out there tonight in the second race. But yeah, only a couple that didn't actually come in for a stop there.
Yeah, as we see Marlon doing his, I thought he was going to rear end the wall there as he does his celebratory donuts here. I think we need to start a scoring system for these guys when they win to work out who's the most creative. At the moment, Marlon did a very nice reverse flick spin. But let's go through the full results as we watch him chew through those tyres. So Marlon McMullen takes race 2 tonight, up 3 positions, and whoa, okay. We should have, whatever. Brett Loxton comes home second. Henry King third, fourth Brian Borg home fifth tonight. Look at Brian Borg, up 21 positions in fourth. Up 12 positions was Jaden Borg. Sixth, Darren Lord. David Kinmond up 13 to come home in seventh. Jamie McKnight comes home eighth. Ninth was Mark Samuel. Thomas Hinz up 5 in 10th. Mitchell Bales, another great run there, up 20 positions to come home in 11th. And Mitchell McLeod rounds out our top 12.
Home in 13th tonight, we had Cooper Webster, followed by Luke Page in 14th, Daniel Trim in 15th. Jacob Knight got himself home in 16th tonight, followed by Jordan Ross. Daryl Hockey, who we saw earlier have that engine failure, come home in 18th, followed by James Bell in 19th, but that may be questionable given that there was no stop, so stewards will have to adjudicate on that one. Daniel Stevens home in 20th, followed by Dave Miller in 21st. Paul Preston in 22nd, followed by Tom Curran in 23rd.
Finishing in 24th tonight was Kyle Stokes. Then we had Craig Jones finishing in 25th position, down 11 from where he started. Daniel Morris classified in 26th, followed by Shannon Mason in 27th. Peter Derrick finished in 28th. 29th was Kai Sloggett. And then we had the two non-starters tonight, Brad Hay and Jared Filsell. Looking at our retirements tonight, folks, that was Peter Derrick and Kai Sloggett. I'll tell you what, the biggest mover tonight, that was a very close call. It was between Mitchell Bales and, I just missed it, hang on, and Brian Borg. Brian got fastest mover by 1 position, up 21 from where he started to finish in 4th.
Yeah, not a bad effort considering we saw him without that rear wing for pretty much the majority of the race after a bit of coming together. I think it was Craig Jones, we noted earlier on the opening lap, there was a bit of rear end contact there. So did pretty well to get that car home. Also not a bad drive there from Mitchell Bales, as we said, up 20 spots.
Yeah, and the race lead was shared by a number of drivers. Jordan Ross, he led the most amount of laps. He led 6 laps. Brett Loxton led 5. Cooper Webster led 4, and Marlon McMullen led 3 and took the win.
Yeah, you don't have to lead the most to get the win, and we know Marlon's pretty strong with the race finishes, so he's doing what he's got to do to add the points, similar to Brian. I know we spoke to him last week, and he was saying doing the same thing, going for those points finishes rather than outright wins. Yeah,
that's right, and let's have a look in our Discord to see. We've got Borg. Brian Borg's down there waiting to come in, so we might bring him up. And did you want to have a chat with him about that rear wing?
Yeah, let's get him up and have a chat to find out how his race ended up going. G'day, Brian. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. Congratulations, home 4th for race 2. How'd you find it out there?
Yeah, very hectic out there, but it's one of those tracks, a lot of excitement, so yeah.
And the car didn't look too bad after, obviously, that little bit of first contact through the Britain chicane there. I think it was a bit of a rear-ending when everyone concertinaed up there.
Yeah, that was, it just happens, but yeah, the car was fine, so not sure if I unticked the fast repair, and that's why I probably looked good in the second half of the race.
Yeah, we didn't pick the wing up, so we weren't sure whether you took that or not, so not too bad. But overall, how did you find the car between race 1, obviously being a short 9-lap sprint, versus the double length 18-lap second race?
Yeah, well, race 1 just got turned around first lap, so yeah, back to the field, and was a bit hard to pass. And the second race, yeah, it was just split the tyres up. I actually took tyres in the second race, so yeah, it was pretty good on tyres.
Yeah, it looked like you had a good little battle towards the end there with Jaden Borg behind you. Any paint exchanges at all?
No, nothing. No Borgie love there, so, but yeah, no touching.
Very good. Well, look, mate, congratulations on the 4th. Looks more points going into the championship, which we know you spoke of last week. Before we let you get out of here and shout the sponsors, we might see if Bernie's got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, this is the first time we've run the 40-80 format with the reverse grid incorporated. What did you think of that format tonight?
I'm not sure everybody got a reverse grid. Like if I see at Marlon's result, he's only up 3. If he finished second, wasn't he supposed to start 14th?
I'm not sure. There might have been a mix-up in the reverse grid. I'm not sure how that worked out. But did you think the 40K race, was that long enough, did you feel, or do you prefer the 80K format?
Yeah, 80K. The 40K was just like start and finish.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I just thought I'd ask because first time we've run it, but fantastic effort tonight. Top mover, 21 positions as we were saying, so well done there. So, yeah, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, more points for the championship. I'll give a shout out to the sponsors, Namicon, the car detailing place in Richmond. So look them up. Also to the team that is at 12-hour Bathurst race this weekend. Good luck, have fun, don't drink too much. Make sure you wake up for the race and watch the race and have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an early start for the guys up there on the mountain. I was there last year and decided I don't think I'd survive 2 years in a row, so I'm going to watch it on the couch tomorrow, whenever.
Yeah, that's right. We're already stuffing up the times.
Exactly. All right, Brian, thanks for coming in. Great race tonight, coming home in third position, so well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate the broadcast.
So our next interview will be with Henry King. He came home in... Where did Henry come? I've got him in second here. I think my telemetry's playing up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we had Brian finish in fourth and Henry King rounded out the podium in third.
Okay, yeah, my telemetry's definitely gone all over the place. So bring Henry up, have a chat, and then we'll go straight to Marlon McMullen. Hi, Henry. Thanks for popping in for a bit of a chat. Well done, mate. Third position tonight, and it looked like you were having a good run there and a good battle with Tom Curran for a fair portion of that race.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a pretty good battle with him on Wednesday night in the OSR race, and for the watercraft and Supercars to get on the podium in both races, I'm pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah, it was definitely you definitely looked strong out there tonight, that's for sure, and looked like you were enjoying yourself.
And I had a blast. Absolutely enjoyed the races tonight.
Fantastic, and we asked Borgie what he thought of the 40K race. What did you think of it?
I honestly enjoyed it. I mean, I made up a heap of spots on the first lap, which was good, and then had a race-long battle with Paul Preston and Tom in the first one too, I think.
Okay, fantastic. And you look like you're pretty happy with the car setup?
Absolutely. Jordan threw me his setup tonight. I made a small adjustment to it and just chucked fuel at it, and away we went.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not going to hold you up for too much longer. I'll hand you over to Daniel and see if he's got any more questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Congratulations, Henry, on the third, mate. Only got one question for you tonight. Give us your take on that restart in the second race. You made up a couple of good positions there. I think that really set you up for a good position tonight at the end.
Oh, definitely. I was talking to Jordan about the restart, and it actually went green before he told me it had gone green. So the lights come up green. I'd nailed it and went around. I just can't who remember it was. I think it might have been Mark or one of the Redback guys.
Yeah, it looked like you got around pretty easy. There was a good little battle back at the end there to finish it off with the guys obviously who hadn't stopped. So not too bad. So before we let you get out of here and go have a good night with the boys, we've better get a quick shout out to all the boys online for the Supercar.
Oh, most definitely. I've got to give a huge shout out to JROS, Watercraft, good stuff, zuva.net.au, of course, and all the team at Synergy Sim Racing.
Fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, mate. Congratulations again on third, and we'll look forward to seeing you back out here again. I think it's next Friday night as well.
I'll be here.
Fantastic. That was Henry King. But without further delay, we better bring up our race winner, and that's Marlon McMullen. Am I right, or is it Mitchell McLeod? I'm getting totally confused.
We've got Marlon in the top spot tonight.
That's right. I don't know what it is, folks, but tonight I've been mixing the names up with these two. All right. I haven't even had a beer yet. Hi, Marlon. Welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. Congratulations taking the win in race 2. And it looked like it was a well-earned win as well.
Yeah, g'day guys. I'm not sure if it was well earned. I was supposed to start, I think, 14th, but for some reason it placed me in 4th. And, I was a little bit confused, but yeah, just went out there and tried to do the best I could. I ran completely off at, I think it was turn 3 on the first lap, but yeah, I was able to come back or not take anyone out, and just sort of went at my own sort of pace and just resettled myself and thinking, am I going to get a penalty or anything for starting up there? But it was what it was, so I just put my head down and came through, and I had a couple of issues where the computer screen sort of got an update or something from a program, and it all tabbed for a few seconds, and then it black screen, and it was just a horrible lap 7 or something. And then so I just pitted, for the sake of it, took some tyres. Was a bit unaware if there was a CPS tonight, so I just thought I'd cover that on all bases. But came in, missed me pit bay, sat there for 6 seconds thinking, why isn't the car getting serviced? Was a bit too far forward, and reversed up. Lost a few positions there, but came out, on the fresh tyres and just sort of did the best I could do to come back through the field as clean as I could. And it's a really hard track to pass, but I think I found a little corner I could sort of call my own for the rest of the week. But it was a really good race, and I love racing those guys. So, yeah, it's a really good result in the end.
Fantastic, yeah. I'm just trying to sort out what's going on with our Discord channel. I'll hand you over to Daniel and see if he's got any more questions for you.
Cheers.
Yeah, g'day, Marlon. It looked like you had a good little battle there once the safety car obviously finished up with Tom Curran. Looked like you managed to sort of get the jump when his tyres were letting go. How did you sort of find the tyre wear tonight with everything that went on?
Well, I didn't do much. Sorry, I'm really amped up after that race. It was a really good race. There's a bit of adrenaline pumping through me. I'll just give me a couple of seconds. Okay, all right, sorry. Came out of the pit stop, and I knew the tyre wear would be a little bit, but as I said, I was unsure if there was going to be a CPS. So I took the tyres for the gamble of it, and I thought maybe we'll be able to make a couple of moves towards the end if the other guys haven't pitted. It sort of happened, but you sort of got to make sure that you get the move done. And I was watching a few guys; they weren't getting out of the corners as well as they could at the first tyre bundle. So I took advantage of that, and as I said, coming towards the second chicane with the tyre bundles, I was just 100% to 110% on the brakes trying to pull up, and had a really good couple of side-by-side battles. And it's one of those corners you really got to commit to it, and it's just one of those gambles. Does it pay off or not? And fortunately tonight I was able to figure out the exact spot where I needed the brake and capitalised on it. So it was a really good race. I can't believe that they gave me as much room as they did. So they did well.
Yeah, well, we caught a couple of your passes into that second chicane there. It looks like you really were dominating getting through the brakes. So like you say, the tyres did play a big role there. And, if you sat in pits for 6 seconds without service and still managed to get a nearly 5 second lead, you would have been well and truly up the road come the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I shouldn't have started 4th, but, I had a couple of weird gremlins happen towards that race. So maybe it sort of, pushed me back to where I should have started. But at the end of the day, just try to have a really good, clean race. I know Danny said to me, reverse grid races, he doesn't want to pay the damage bills. So kept it as good as I could today, and had some fun out there. And it was really good racing. And just couldn't believe that safety car came out when it did, and that Jordan had to bid towards the end, because I had a really good race with him in the first race. And it was really it was a bit sad to see him having the pit, but we had a really good race in the first one.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, congratulations on taking the win. It's moving in the right ways to defend the title at the end of the year, mate. So congratulations. And before we let you get out here, we better get a shout out to all the sponsors you guys are carrying on board the car tonight.
Yeah, thank you. WP Concreting, obviously Western Mazda, Motion Performance Exhaust, GDH Racing Images, of course the whole team at Performance Sim Sports, I mean, the last few weeks I haven't been using my own setups, which I usually do all the time. I've tried some of their setups, so they're really the team's really found something lately, and it's given me a bit of confidence. And yeah, I got this new simulator too, so I got to thank Pagnian as well for sending it all out. And I think in the last few weeks it's really spurred me on. I feel like I'm a little bit faster and a bit more consistent. So I've got to really thank you guys, for giving me the chance to get one of these simulators. And yeah, I'm making sure I use the best of it I can.
Actually, that reminds me, one quick question too. Sorry. Now you got that new rig, how did you set it up? The F1 or the GT style? Because it'd be good for a lot of the viewers who saw the prize that obviously went out last year. How did you end up using it?
Yeah, when I got it, that's a good question. What did I want to set up in, the F1 or the GT? I went for the GT position. I sort of like the feeling that, we're doing touring cars. I've sat in a couple of real supercars as well, in my lifetime. Obviously, I've never driven them, but I just feel like you want to be as close as possible to the wheel. I feel like I drive like a grandma, as close as I can, but yeah, I just feel like that's the position that sort of suits me. I'm a tall bloke too, so I'm about nearly 6'1", which isn't ideal for race car drivers, but yeah, I make do with what I can do, and I use my lanky, tall giraffe legs to do the job. So yeah, that's a really good simulator, and I really feel at one now. Like when I use the brakes and all that in the GT position, I can really, modulate how I want to do it now, and just sort of play with the car and the corners. And yeah, in the last few weeks, my lap times have literally come within 10th after 10th, lap by lap. So I don't know. I just feel really comfortable now in that GT position. So I love it.
Fantastic. Well, look, again, congratulations on taking out race 2 tonight, mate. Look forward to seeing you back on track again next week. And yeah, best of luck, mate. We'll see you out there.
Cheers. Thank you guys for all the effort.
So that was our race winner tonight, folks, Marlon McMullen. Our final interview tonight is with Jaden Borg, and I might get you to start on this interview, Daniel.
Yep, no worries. Sounds good.
You're just carrying me tonight because I'm having a shocker.
G'day, Jaden. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box. Congratulations on 5th tonight.
Yeah, cheers, guys. It was good to be up there for probably the first time ever. Top 10 at the Enduro helped out, and hopefully a good start to the season.
Yeah, definitely. How'd you find the racing out there? Obviously, a little different with the 80-40. What was your read on it tonight?
The 40 was to me it was just pretty short, so it was a bit of a practice. But the 80, I did enjoy the 80. Kept all the racing very tight. It's a tough track to pass, so trying to make up any time's a bit difficult.
Yeah, definitely. And it looked like some good little battles partway through. I think when we saw everyone come in for the stops, yourself and Brian were very close on the rejoin to the circuit, so that looked like a good little battle for you.
Yeah, kept it good fun, of course. Being an only quick race, you want to try and stay in front as much as you can, but also you don't want to put the car in any walls because, you'll pretty much ruin your race with no time to recover.
Yeah, definitely. And new livery on board for the car tonight. Cars look very good out there.
Yeah, that was it was a pretty good morning waking up to get a response and hear that we had Penrite come on board, which is that's very awesome and it's very big for us, and hopefully gives the guys in the team a bit of a boost up to push a bit harder.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, congratulations again. 5th spot, nothing to be sneezed at, so very well, and all good points leading into the end of the championship here. I think you were also the top driver of the team. I just see Darryl down here in 18th, so great job there. And before we let you get out of here, or maybe even Bernie wants to ask you a quick question, we better get a shout out from all the sponsors now with the car.
Yeah, well, first of all, definitely, Penrite. It was a big move for them to move into something that they don't really have much to do with, so it's a first step for them as well. Definitely Pagnian as well with the series and helping us get through everything. And On The Go Sports for, all the great clothing they provide us with the shirts and the jackets.
Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you and the rest of the boys out again next week. I haven't checked where we're actually running, but we'll look forward to seeing you out there, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing some good results from you and getting in for that championship battle at the end of the year.
Easy done, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking keen. Should be good. Thank you.
Fantastic. The only question I really had, and a bit curious, was what happened to Darryl when he popped that motor. But whether it was some sort of technical glitch he had, that's something we'll have to find out to discuss maybe next round.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to sort of see, as you mentioned, the telemetry showed a little different with a zero in the gear and a high rev, so it's a bit of a weird one, that. But I'll check in with him, see if he's got an update, and we might be able to sort of shed some light on it coming into the next race.
Yeah, fantastic. Of course, folks, this pretty much is going to end the telecast of the Australian Online Supercar Championship tonight. We'll be back next week with the V8 Supercars. The GT3s, they're going to be on tomorrow night on RRTV. They make their return. So if you're interested in watching those, go over and check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/RRTV live, and it'll tell you when they will be scheduled. And of course, you can also see the schedule once it goes up after this broadcast on our YouTube channel. And that's youtube.com/RRTV live for the viewers that are watching us through Facebook or Twitch tonight. But then, of course, in real life, the 12 hour is on Sunday, and so I've got a weekend of racing.
Yeah, mate, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So V8's on. Well, there will be V8s there, but the racing at Bathurst will be a lot of fun. And like I say, for the sim community, seeing some GT3s back on here again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in that also.
Yeah, next Thursday night, keep that in your diaries, folks, because the Thursday Night Thunder comes back for the Answer Car boys, and they're running in the Xfinity this season. The Monday nights are going to run the Utes. The broadcasts are going to run the Xfinity. So that should be exciting racing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, that looked like a good series, especially with the trucks last year. I think maybe a lot of yellows, which maybe the guys will start addressing. I know a new series and all that sort of happens. So hopefully the racing is a bit more interesting. But yeah, it'll be definitely good to watch the guys going around in the Xfinity stuff.
It certainly will. But anyway, Daniel, thanks for joining me tonight. And it's always a pleasure having you up here calling the races with me. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. I know I wasn't on the ball tonight, so you probably had to work a little extra hard.
No, mate, it all adds to the broadcast a little bit of flavour. Hopefully the viewers enjoyed it. I think we've still got quite a few on there now. So thank you to all the viewers who have tuned in and watched the racing tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll definitely look forward to seeing you back out to watch the next one next Friday night.
Yeah, fantastic. So, folks, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.